bathroom door closes, and within seconds, your dog is there. No scratching, no whining, no panic. It just sits 3 feet from the door, waiting. Most people assume this means one of two things: your dog is anxious, or your dog just loves you. Both of those explanations sound right. Both of them are wrong, because the researchers who have spent the last 2 decades studying this exact behavior ended up with a description that sounds nothing like either one. And once you hear it, that dog outside your door stops looking needy and starts looking precise. Dogs who follow their owners from room to room even have a name in scientific literature: Velcro dogs. And the instinct is to hear that as a problem. Something went wrong. Something got wired a little too tightly. But here's what most people miss. That dog isn't sitting outside your door because it can't handle being without you. It's sitting there because of something your presence does to its brain. Something that changes how it sees the entire world. Let's start with a study that looks simple on the surface. In 2013, researchers at the Clever Dog Lab in Vienna gave dogs a food puzzle they couldn't solve on their own. Then they changed just one thing: whether the owner was in the room. When the owner stayed, the dogs didn't give up. They kept trying, pawing, nudging, staying engaged with something that wasn't working. But the moment the owner left, everything changed. The same dogs disengaged faster, lost interest, walked away. So the researchers tried something else. They replaced the owner with a stranger. Same room, same setup, same puzzle. No effect. The dogs didn't try harder. They didn't stay longer. Because it wasn't about a human being present. It was about their human. And this is where the interpretation flips. Your dog isn't following you because it can't function without you. It's following you because with you there, it actually functions better. Researchers call this the secure base effect. The same mechanism seen in human children, not dependence. Calibration. With you in the environment, the world becomes something worth engaging with. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because following you isn't just about feeling more capable. It's about how your dog actually reads the world. Researchers at the University of Milan tested this with something oddly specific: a fan covered in bright green streamers. Something unfamiliar, slightly strange. When dogs saw it, most of them did the same thing first. They looked at the object, and then immediately looked back at their owner. Not randomly, not briefly, deliberately. And then came the part that changed everything. Their next move depended entirely on the owner's face. If the owner looked relaxed, the dog approached. If the owner showed hesitation, the dog backed off. Same object, same dog. Different reaction. The only variable was you. Scientists call this referential looking. Your dog is using you as a live information source, a real-time filter for what's safe, what's irrelevant, and what matters. Now think about what that requires. To check in with you, your dog has to be able to see you, which means all that room-to-room following isn't clinginess. It's positioning, staying close enough so that when something happens, you're already within view. And this is where the behavior starts to look less emotional and more strategic. Because in a multi-person household, dogs don't follow everyone equally. They pick one person, not randomly, not sentimentally, consistently. The one who moves in ways that predict something important, who reaches for the leash, who opens the fridge, who turns small actions into meaningful events. From your dog's perspective, you're not just a person, you're a pattern, a moving signal that something relevant might be about to happen. And research on how dogs track human behavior suggests this isn't affection in the way we think about it. It's probability tracking. When you stand up and walk into another room, your dog isn't just following your body, it's following the odds. The chance that this movement leads to food, to a walk, to something worth paying attention to. Which means that shadow at your heels isn't there because your dog is attached. It's there because in its internal model of the world, you are the most reliable predictor that something meaningful is about to happen. But this pattern becomes even clearer when the environment changes, because when dogs are placed in unfamiliar situations, new rooms, new layouts, new rules, the following behavior doesn't decrease, it intensifies. In a 2024 study from the Clever Dog Lab, researchers observed something subtle but revealing. Dogs were asked to complete a simple task where there was an obvious, efficient path, and a longer, unnecessary one demonstrated by their owner. The dogs already knew the shorter route. They'd done it before. And yet, when the situation felt uncertain, many of them ignored what they knew and copied the human instead, step for step, even the inefficient parts, not because they forgot, Not because they were confused, but because in a context where the rules weren't fully clear, the safest strategy wasn't independence. It was alignment. Stay close. Do what the knowledgeable agent does. Reduce uncertainty. And suddenly that constant following starts to look different again. Not emotional dependence, not blind obedience, but a navigation system. A way of saying, if I'm not sure how this works, I'll stay near the one who does. And underneath all of this, beneath the following, the watching, the constant positioning, there's something even deeper. Something that didn't come from training. It came from evolution. In 2017, researchers at Princeton identified structural variations in two genes found in domestic dogs, GTF2I and GTF2I-RD1. What made this discovery so striking wasn't just what these genes do in dogs, it's where else they appear. In humans, disruptions in these same genes are linked to Williams-Beuren syndrome, a condition defined by extreme sociability, an almost compulsive drive to connect, and a reduced sense of social fear. In simple terms, a brain wired to move toward others, not away. And here's the critical detail. Wolves don't carry these variants. Dogs do. Which means the impulse to stay close to you, to follow you, to resist letting you disappear around a corner, isn't a flaw. It's a feature, selected over thousands of years, not for survival alone, but for proximity, for connection. Your dog isn't learning to be near you. It was built for it. But there is one distinction that actually matters, because it completely changes how you interpret this behavior. In 2006, researchers at Tufts University looked at dogs with clinically diagnosed separation anxiety and compared them to dogs without it. And what they found surprised a lot of people. The anxious dogs didn't follow their owners more. Let that sink in. The behavior looks similar on the surface, but underneath, it's not the same system at all. A typical Velcro dog follows when it can, but when you leave, it settles. It rests. It recovers. The behavior is flexible, but a dog with separation anxiety can't disengage. The moment you're gone, the nervous system doesn't calm down. It escalates, pacing, vocalizing, destruction, not because it wants to be near you, but because it cannot regulate without you. These are two completely different mechanisms. One is connection, the other is distress. So if your dog follows you from room to room, but relaxes when you step away, you don't have a problem. You're looking at a system that's working exactly as designed. So the next time your dog follows you down the hallway and stops outside a closed door, what you're looking at isn't need, it's positioning. Your dog has placed itself at the exact point where it can maintain the most efficient access to you, visually, behaviorally, informationally. It's watching for movement, for patterns, for the smallest signal about what happens next, because over weeks, months, years, you've become something very specific in its world, not just a companion, a reference point, the most reliable source of meaning in an environment that is constantly changing. And the pull it feels to stay near you? That isn't a personality flaw. It isn't something that needs to be fixed. At a biological level, it's the result of thousands of years of selection, for animals that didn't just tolerate humans, but oriented around them. So that shadow at your heels, that dog waiting outside your door, that's not clinginess. That's the highest compliment the science of animal cognition can offer. If this changed how you see your dog, subscribe and leave a comment below. And tell me, does your dog follow everyone or just you? Because that answer says more than you think.